Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we've got Abandoned by Disney. So for those of you not in the know, creepypasta are internet stories spread across the internet, copied and pasted. The short term is copypasta, and the creepy ones are called creepypasta. They're essentially internet campfire stories. So, Abandoned by Disney is actually, when I read it, I discovered shortly after reading it.
How is copypasta a short form?
For copy and paste?
I mean,
people just started doing copy and paste, so they got rid of the and then they started calling it copy paste, and then somebody wrote, I guess, copy pasta, and then that's where it grew from there.
Whatever.
Has that been bugging you, like, for weeks or whole episodes?
Actually, never paid much attention to it, and then I'm just like, wait a minute. That's not shorter.
It's kind of shorter. They got rid of the and, then left the a at the other end of it.
And that makes no sense. Like, I could see, like, dropping the and. Hey, fuck, I'm lazy. Copy paste. Bam. Copy paste.
Yeah, I think that yeah. Somebody said like copy paste or something like that. Like instead of like left an a instead of the e. Where's the e and a on that? Yeah, they're kind of close. I don't know. It's not like, I mean, it's not like it could have been like a mistake.
Places.
Yeah, they're in different lines, but I mean.
So basically, this is because we're doing this because someone made a typo, and then someone started making creepy typos. All right, welcome to Creepy Typo.
Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. This. Welcome to the internet, Leviathan. But anyway, so. Thank you for that tangent. So we're doing Abandoned by Disney, which, as it turns out, is actually the first of a series of stories that I was. But this one was the original one and then the other ones came later. And
okay, so this one's probably the worst one, is what you're saying.
Maybe. Well, here's the thing: this one's actually done by somebody we may like, Slimebeast, the guy who did Lost Episodes.
Okay, but still.
Yeah, I know.
The first one's always the worst. Like Chuck the Killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's so popular. Why?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Then again, Batman was popular in the 60s, so what the hell?
Yeah. So, if you want, you can check it out at creepypasta.wiki. You can also check it out at slimebeast.com. And there are also a ton of readings of it on YouTube, particularly Mr.Creepypasta. So, go check it out. We'll wait. All right. It starts off with the narrator telling us the story of a botched
Treasure Island.
Yeah, Treasure Island, a botched project.
Not the movie or anything like that.
But like a resort in the Bahamas that was somewhat initially had success, and then it just was dropped because of shallow water, or like they just the ships couldn't get in any really easy way, so they just kind of decided to abandon the whole project. Lost tons of money and stuff, and so we're kind of told that, like, how it was just abandoned by Disney.
That's what. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And so the main character, or the narrator, then goes into talking about another abandoned location that Disney did in North Carolina called Mowgli's Palace, which it was, again, another resort that Disney had some scandals with by procuring the land and whatnot, and building this big hotel resort thing, attraction.
That no one in the community wanted.
Yeah, nobody in the neighboring communities really wanted it at all. And people went to it, and they had some initial success, and then Disney dropped it, and it just left. It became obscured to that only the locals really knew about it. And this narrator is one of those locals. So he reads a blog about Treasure Island, about people doing urban exploration about it in it and stuff, and finding all this crazy stuff. So he decides that he's going to try and do the similar thing with Mowgli's palace. So he spends about a year, like kind of like on and off prepping and stuff for it, and then eventually drives down to the where it is. He tries to find out where it is exactly by some locals. They just kind of snicker and sneer, or they're transplants to the community, so they don't know anything about the history of it.
What the Mowgli?
Yeah. What is that there? Anyways, we just lost the Southerners.
That was you.
Yeah, I know. That's what, I know. Anyway,
I'll maintain my credit for Alabama, but
right. And now we've lost North Carolina. Okay. So anyway, he eventually finds the place, and it's like decayed and decrepit. Some of the exotic plant life and stuff that they put down into the ground has become like an invasive species. He finds when he gets to the main gates, it's enough for him to walk in but not drive in, and he finds a plaque that says that has painted on it "Abandoned by Disney," like by some local or whoever was in there previously. And he goes in and finds this old and decrepit and abandoned resort, essentially. So it's urban exploration. And for the most part, the story just goes into that, like goes into detail about him going around. And I kind of found that interesting. Like I kind of liked that part of it.
I was just bored.
Really? Okay.
Well, nothing was happening.
I know, but I mean, at the same time, like I was like reading it, and I was finding myself just kind of engrossed in that reading of the of going through an urban doing urban exploration. He finds nothing of real value or anything like that, so he decides to come back out into the courtyard.
Everything's been smashed or broken or
taken. Yeah. So he thinks he's here. Though he finds it strange that the water's still working. And he thinks he hears a couple of weird, like some conversations and stuff, but ultimately nothing really comes of that. So he decides to go back out to the courtyard, and that's where he sees a statue of a python, like I guess like Ka or whatever the boa constrictor from the Jungle Book. I think it's Ka. And so he decides to take a picture of it, and he gets closer and closer, and then the statue looks at him.
Away.
Yeah, looks at him and then slithers away, all 80 feet of it, just into the jungle, and into the foliage. And he recalls that Disney had dumped the animals they had in Treasure Island into the local area, like sharks and stuff like that. So he assumes that they've done the same thing with this place, where they've just dumped the reptile Hall's animals into the local environment. My question is, how the hell did he not know that was a real python? Because I mean, maybe even if it was like supposed to look like lifelike and stuff, maybe. But I don't know. It was just something that kind of like got me about that, like a little nitpicky thing. It was just like
when reptiles sun, they are
completely motionless. I understand that.
Unusually still, but yeah.
Like,
I also found that really hard to believe.
Especially, like, the size of it he was portraying. And it wouldn't be, like, a pristine statue, like, with all detail and stuff like that at that point. Like, or it would be very weird for that to happen.
Yeah, and also...
And he couldn't, like, it's not like he could, like, just distinguish it to be, like, a rubber snake for some reason.
I can never remember, but I don't know if there's ever been a snake that large. But I could
80 foot, like an anaconda, maybe, but...
Yeah, this is just a random piece of information that I have, but there is a threshold for snakes that we've never had a living one.
Yeah, like there's ancient ones, like prehistoric ones that have been like huge.
Yeah,
but there's nothing
like
modern.
Boa.
Yeah.
That one is massive.
Yeah.
But
had to be. But,
there's
never
a threshold, and I can't remember what it is. I think it's more like. I don't know.
Probably like 60 or 40.
I don't know. I don't have all of my information straight, but
we did both
pretty sure that this 80-foot
is an impossibility.
Well,
maybe.
If it is a possibility, it's getting really close to that. As in, this snake is probably one of the world's largest.
Yeah, and it's in North Carolina.
It's in North Carolina, and
it survived like multiple winters in North Carolina. I guess as far as south that it'd be milder weather, but yeah.
I actually looked that up too because I was like,
vegetation
really
stuff?
Tropical?
Yeah, that's
really?
What I was. Yeah,
and I was like, okay, maybe I'd buy this.
Yeah. It's kind of like because actually I went to Disney World not too long ago. They in their African exhibit, like we're down in Florida, we're in Central Florida, so it still got down to about 15 when I went to the park, and they had a safari zone essentially, and it was a 20-minute ride through this area. They have like plant life and stuff like that that's native to Africa in this safari area, and yeah, so I could kind of buy it maybe, but yeah.
All I can say is I don't know enough to dispute it, really. I can't say it can't happen, so
yeah,
I'm just gonna... But an 80-foot snake is...
pretty damn
for
impressive.
it to be a boa,
yeah.
And, like, not... I mean, don't get me wrong, boa's a big species of snake.
Also, he may have just misidentified it. It could have been an anaconda, but
No.
Really?
The green anaconda, the world's largest snake, it looks nothing like a boa. Like,
okay.
I mean, aside from that, it's a head, it's a body, which is basically a tail, and has no limbs, you know, like all snakes resemble each other.
The patterns are all different and stuff.
Yeah, it does not look like it.
Okay.
Like, the species in the movie, anaconda.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's a green anaconda. If not, it looks rather similar.
Yeah.
Would you have confused that for a boa?
Probably not.
Exactly.
No. So, actually, again, I recently saw a boa in a zoo.
Because there's a pattern on boas.
Yeah.
And that fit... Though,
yeah, those ones are all black and... Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of color under it, but... So... Now, don't get me wrong, I am not, you know, any sort of zoologist or whatnot, but...
That's
You're
still
asking me
big,
to believe something that I have just enough information where I have to say, no, I cannot believe you.
Yeah. I mean, the story,
because I may not be a zoologist, but I've got access to National Geographic channels and Discovery and whatnot.
Yeah. But I just kind of attribute it to just, like, kind of the growing weirdness that he was experiencing at the park. But at the same time, yeah. Anyway. So, moving on.
Yeah, but at this point, he's still trying to suck me in.
Yeah.
And all he did was make me question it.
Which we've had.
Which is always a bad idea.
Yeah.
Don't make me think about what I'm reading, because once I start, I won't stop. And then when we get to, you know, when we get to things that I can't believe, I won't.
Yeah. So, he goes, so the anaconda thing really creeps him out, so he starts going back to the palace. And that's where he finds, he has to sit down and stuff, and he sits down on these stairs that go down into a locked, to a door that's locked.
Down?
Yeah, it shows down to the sub-basement.
Man, I never even noticed that.
And it has a padlock on it that hasn't been broken, and it has mascots only room. So he goes down and he smashes doesn't smash the lock, but he smashes the paneling that it's hooked to, and that's what allows him to get into this sub-basement. And he goes in and he finds an untouched, fully abandoned level of this place. And he goes and starts taking some pictures and stuff, and finds some finds decrepit things. Electricity's on in here, so like there's lighting, which I found was kind of, again, another thing that I found was odd about this place is that the water and the electricity is still going after a decade or two. Then he's walking through the halls and he finally finds a mascot prep 1 room that he tries to open, won't really budge or anything like that. So, and then he walks away, and then it pops open and slowly creaks open for him. So he proceeds to go inside, and there's all these costumes of popular Disney characters put up on hooks, like cartoon cadavers, I think is what he actually says or writes. And so, and there's also a Mickey Mouse costume that's splayed on the ground like a crime scene kind of thing, but it's wrong. It's an inverted.
It's a negative.
Yeah, it's a negative of the costume. Like the white is black and the black is white. It's also missing bits. It's like been abandoned and derelict. And it just looks off to him, like completely. So he decides to take a look at some of the other mascot things. He goes to a Donald Duck one, and he thinks it would be really cool to get a photo of its head on the ground. So he carefully pulls this mask off, and a skull clatters to the ground at his feet. And shatters.
World's largest snake, 25 feet 2 inches.
All right, so impossibility.
Exactly, because, yeah, I thought it might have been 30 meters, but no.
It's 25 feet.
It's 30. Wow. There's actually an ancient, well, not ancient, I can't remember who it was. There was a U.S. president who offered a reward to anyone who found a 30-foot snake.
Nice.
That prize has yet to be claimed. It was $1,000, and that was back when $1,000 was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just...
Okay.
It was bugging me, so...
Yeah, I understand.
I had to take care of that, but yeah, so there we go.
We have an impossibility. So, yeah, the skull falls when he takes the Donald Duck mask up, shatters at his feet, so it's just staring at him, and
which
would
again,
like,
I gotta say, a skull shattering. Now you have to keep in mind
everything
else in this
place. Or what?
Everything else here is wet and damp.
Yeah,
and
mushy.
Mushy.
He even describes it like the entire sublevel had a feel of squishy.
Yeah. So why did the skull shatter? That would imply that it's dried as fuck.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know. I don't have a slight plot hole.
I'm just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once I start, I can't stop.
I know.
Plot holes are like Pringles.
I need to. Nice. It's going on a shirt. Anyway, so that creeps him out royally. He decides to back up, goes to the front of the door, and then he's like, but he got this that thing that everybody tends to get it when something weird happens. Like, I gotta take photos of it. I gotta record this. In horror movies and horror stories, hell, I've even had that experience a couple of times when I've had something weird happen. I was like, I gotta record this. So he turns around to take the picture of the skull, and that's when Mickey Mouse, or inverted Mickey Mouse...
let's call him Wiki.
Wiki Wouse?
There in the vein of Wario and...
Okay, yeah, so Wiki Wouse starts becomes alive and starts getting up from his prone position. And he's just standing there, sizing up the guy, and the guy's freaking out, takes a picture of him, shakily.
Which is actually really weird because there's a picture, but he says that his camera
got wiped later. Yeah, he
says that his camera wouldn't even work.
Yeah, because he takes the picture and it was it only showed a silhouette. Oh,
Did he actually take the picture?
Yeah, he took the picture, but he said that after he took it, it was a silhouette on the screen of dead pixels wherever Mickey Mouse was on that little screen, and then eventually it shut down and was essentially broken. And later on, he says that he couldn't recover any of the photos he had taken from that camera, which begs to differ because there is an image that comes with this pasta. But so anyway, the Mickey Mouse is standing there, and in a hushed.
Yeah, he doesn't actually say that he took a picture.
Oh, didn't know? Okay, no. I thought. Okay, I must have just in my head while I was reading it.
Because he lifts it up, but it never says he takes the picture. He says that
there's dead pixels on the
and
screen.
Wherever it moved, as though when he's prepping to take when you're
it would die. Yeah. Okay.
So
I apologize. I thought in my head I must have added that then. So yeah, the Mickey
where
Mouse.
Does this image come from?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll get to that afterward. Let me finish the rundown. I know. So Wiki Wouse. Standing there in a hushed voice but it's still the Mickey Mouse voice, says, want to see me pull my own head off?
Want to see my head come off.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. And he starts grabbing at his neck and popping his head off, and there's this weird chunky yellow blood pouring out from where he's popping it, and he's hearing the sick sound. So I guess at this point, the narrator just books, nopes, right out of there. Just runs up the stairs, gets into his car, and is gone. And he... Oh, but before he leaves that prep room, he did see there's this etched sign on the above the door saying "Abandoned by God." So he's been seeing these "Abandoned by Disney" signs all over the place, and then he sees this, almost etched as if it was done by fingernail and bone. So yeah, he runs the hell out of there. And leaves, and then we're left with the last couple of sentences, which essentially is I know now why Disney abandoned it. They didn't want people like me to get in. They didn't want something like it to get out.
And then before that, I never got the pictures out of the camera. I never wrote the blog entry about it.
But I wrote a creepypasta.
What?
But I wrote a creepypasta.
What did I just read? What did I just see?
But I decided to write a story about it.
So, that's kind of...
I know, yeah. It's a little... Yeah.
Why would those lines be in there?
I guess maybe he never officially made a blog that's about the whole thing. I mean, aside from the story we just read, I understand that. Yeah, I know it's a little confusing as to what he's trying to get or like why he had.
That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't matter. We never did a podcast about it.
That's true. You're not listening to this podcast. You're not you, listeners. Anyway, so yeah, the story ends on it just ends, and it leaves a lot of questions for me. Anyways, I liked that because like we don't get a whole lot of answers, but at the same time, that's the
what are you
the
talking
beauty.
about? I've been answering questions the whole time.
I know you have, but when I was reading it though, like when I finished it, I was like, "There's a lot of really good answers, like a lot of some questions I want that I have about the story." But I'm fine not knowing about them because that's what I liked about it was the ambiguity of the horror. Like there's things in this this abandoned place that can't really be explained, and that was kind of cool to me. So I personally like when I finished. I mean, I did read it like a couple of hours before we did this episode. I did really enjoy it. I liked the pacing for the most part. Even though not a whole lot of supernatural stuff happened, I liked reading this guy's journey into this abandoned place because it felt like somebody recounting their own urban exploration quest or whatever. And then the weird stuff happened, and I found that some of the weird stuff was like some of the Mickey Mouse thing was a little bit weird, like a little bit weirder than horror. Or maybe it seemed a little bit out of place, like for the rest based off the rest of the story. But it was a nice little like ending, like. And then this weird thing, this weird horror thing happened, and I ran out. So it's, I don't know, it felt very much like like Lovecraft stories, where spend so much time doing the whole like getting to the horror thing, and then we get to the horror thing. It's a big like crescendo the investigator runs out screaming into the night.
I don't know. I was bored with the exploration thing just because I've walked around abandoned places. Really, you've seen one, you've seen them all. So all of this detail and explanation, it's like, okay, I get it. So I just kind of wanted it
to get
over.
to the...
I wanted it over well before it was over.
Yeah.
And, yeah, then, you finally get to, like, oh, I found this place that no one had ever been, which... to me, I don't know how long it was abandoned, but it was abandoned in the 90s, right?
So like 10, 20 years almost.
There's probably no area that no one's gotten to, but okay. Let's say that,
there is a lost little palace in the middle of North Carolina.
Yeah. And, okay, no one's gotten there, so you go in there. And again, it just seems to go on and on. Like, I start to take pictures from every which angle. I don't care.
Yeah, I did,
I was a little, I don't care what's going to happen with that Mickey Mouse, because that's clearly what's going to be messed up.
Yeah.
Also, I was like, oh, it's Mickey and negative, like Wario. And Wario is not intimidating at all. Wario is comically silly.
Yeah.
So...
comically evil.
I was immediately just unafraid. Just immediately I had no respect for Mickey.
Huh.
Or Wiki, if you will.
Yeah.
I had no respect for Wiki Wouse as a villain. So, oh no, it's standing up. Oh, what harebrained scheme is he gonna have? And then it's like his hair, and then he proceeds to rip his own head off. Well, all right.
I don't know. I guess I had I had the opposite effect because I saw it from a different angle. I saw it from I wonder why. I saw it as almost like a Lovecraftian angle where this thing that shouldn't be and whatnot, and then getting up when it shouldn't be getting up, and it's inverted, it's like wrong, and the blood's yellow and stuff. I just thought that was a really good, creepy moment, but that's my perspective. So.
Well, yeah, but you were thinking about horror, I was thinking about Wario.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know about. I didn't even like think about Wario and WikiWows until you brought that up. So
yeah, but once you do, it kind of drains all of the intensity out of the moment, doesn't it?
A little, for me anyway.
Well, for me, it was one of those things. Once it's been, once you think of it that way, that's the way I think of it, and
it's stuck in your head.
If I was in the moment, it might be a lot more terrifying, but I just can't see it.
Yeah.
I can't see myself in that moment because that moment just doesn't exist. And again, with the fact that I was, questioning everything already, because, I was like, wait, hold up, where the hell is North Carolina? Because I really didn't know. I had no idea.
I know, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, tropical plants, maybe. And, I'm like, and then 80-foot snake, I was like, whoa, hold up. That seems really big. So it's just, there was just over and over again. There was little bits things,
little details that kind of rub you the wrong way.
Yeah, like those little details. The fact that the exploration of this resort, I was like, okay, are we done yet?
I will say that, I did enjoy it, but I will say that I was looking at, it's like, man, this is like a lot. I mean, there's a lot of just, I don't want to say useless, but there's a lot of filler or semi-filler.
There's a lot
just
of
going
mood
through.
setting.
Yeah, there's a lot of building up.
I'm not saying
it's a slow build.
I'm not saying that it's done poorly because I'm pretty sure I bitched about people not doing a slow burn.
Yeah, exactly.
My problem with this one is that I just building up to finding that room. Not even the Mickey part, just finding that one room. Building up to it is where I was asking most of my questions. Mm-hmm. So clearly he wasn't building up to anything for me because I wasn't engrossed enough to stop asking questions. Or the questions were so glaringly, just had to be asked by me that I couldn't not ask them. So, the 80-foot snake. Now, I happened to watch a special on Titanoboa.
Yeah.
So, maybe I'm just one of the rare people who just shouldn't have, But at the same time, a quick Google search will get you, okay, what is unrealistic for a snake size?
Yeah, exactly.
And...
Well, even I had, I paused for a moment where it was like, whoa, 80 feet?
And when your snake is more than 3 times the size of the record record holder.
Yeah.
You kind of gotta...
Yeah, you have a problem.
Yeah, you went too far. You're asking me to believe too much. Now... I'm
not going to condemn it to Russian sleep experiment levels.
Oh, God, no.
No, hang on. Just bear with me for a second. But I can see, your argument does kind of point out that it does have a similar issue that we had with sleep experiment, where there were some details that there was too much detail of something that could be corrected.
It's more like correct. Jeff the Killer with the whole bleach fire and everything. Yeah. You scienced, and I see what you're trying to do. You scienced wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is just more proof of my new favorite saying. If you can't science it, then you don't know enough about science.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, it's... So, in that, and I'm asking too many questions, so when it starts to get creepy...
It's
I'm still sitting on the outside. Over it. I'm not engrossed. I'm sitting, I definitely have the fourth wall between us.
Yeah.
I'm not in this guy's shoes. I don't care.
So what we have here is is exactly the two opinions, or positions. I got engrossed in it because I dug the build up and stuff. You asked had a lot of questions about it and weren't engrossed.
Well, yeah, it was just there was too much. Yeah, it was just too much wrong with it, and it just kind of went on too long. And
your suspension of disbelief could only go so far.
Exactly, and I am just at my core, I am contrary which I don't know if any of our constant listeners
know.
have noticed that yet,
I don't
that
know.
I may be contrary, but,
Gotta find like an Alice in Wonderland creepypasta sometime.
No. I don't even like Alice in Wonderland in general.
Okay.
But I am contrary, so I'm already, sometimes I go into things not wanting to like them. But I actually didn't go into this not wanting to like it.
I pretty much just told you, like, we're going to do Abandoned by Disney this episode.
Yeah, and I was like, alright, I was looking forward to it. I wasn't necessarily, like,
excited
to be a part of this. I mean, more than I already am. Because, believe it or not, people, I love doing this.
I know, there's been some times where I was like, is he really? No. But yeah, so anyway.
But yeah, I genuinely love doing this, and I get excited to read the creepypastas.
Even ripping into the bad ones.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because that's fun for me. Because, like I say, I'm contrary. So, maybe that kind of reared its ugly head here, and it started, maybe because of that I didn't get into the story. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the case. But, at the same time, it just wasn't... It was full of holes to begin with.
Yeah. You were seeing all the leaks.
I didn't make them.
Yeah. You're just spotting them, and... You were noticing them more than I would.
I stuck my head through the holes, but I didn't make the holes.
Yeah, I did know, and I said I did notice some of the plot holes. I just kind of I shrugged them off because I was interested. Yeah.
Well, that's because that's your nature. Yeah. You're a go with the flow. Let's see what this has kind of guy. Yeah. Whereas I'm like, all right, let's go against the flow. Let's fuck downstream. Let's go upstream.
Yeah. Well, again, it's why it what makes this the little show we have.
It's what makes us a good duo to do these, because we do often have differing opinions.
Yeah, we often butt heads about what we think was about a story. So, but anyway, writing I actually thought it was pretty good. There were some spelling errors and some that I noticed. I just picked out a word that was had just accidentally been typed wrong. I can't remember what they were, but it was but yeah, there was one or two of them that I noticed. But otherwise,
I didn't even notice any.
Huh.
And I completely agree with you. This is a really well written thing.
I'm really liking. I think we might have to do a couple.
And
more
although I
Slimebeast
didn't
ones.
really care for the slow build up, it was there.
Yeah, it was an escalation. It was just a very slow escalation, but it wasn't like some
it didn't
of the other
work
ones
for me
where
this time. But I'm still glad to see it.
Yeah.
Because
whoever
even when
Slimebeast,
it's done poorly,
he knows how to do it.
Well, even when a slow build up is done poorly, it's so rarely done.
Yeah.
And this slow build up isn't done poorly. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the dangers of the slow build up.
Yeah.
But I still love to see it. It's it's almost like a lost art. It's become so rare. Just watch watch a modern horror movie and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it was there. It was actually well written.
I'm still not
kept
sure.
his tenses in.
Yeah,
one.
I know. Yeah, that's what I was looking for the whole time. It was like, huh.
And I mean,
this is pretty good.
A writer shouldn't get points for that.
I know, but we are doing
We
are doing creepypasta, and we have run into a number of ones that have.
Well,
just
what I'm saying
ruined
is that that shouldn't be something that a writer an author gets
we
points
give praise for. Yeah.
But yeah, here I am giving praise
in
for it. So
in the genre of creepypasta, we have to. Sometimes we have to just put somebody else.
No, we just have to instead of accepting that something is shit by its very nature, I don't say we accept that. I say we challenge the nature so that it gets better.
All right, fair enough.
And this is one of those occasions where, I'm absolutely certain that this was not written because of any challenge I issued.
No. This has been around for a while.
But at the same time, it still answers the challenge.
Yeah.
it is well written. It elevates the genre.
Yeah.
And for that alone, it's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, writing awesome. Would you recommend it? I would recommend it. Simply because I did like the build up. It may not be for like everybody, as we've just deduced, but I think it would still be a good pasta for somebody to read.
I as well. Just because I don't enjoy something doesn't mean that it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that, unlike some of the other pastas we've done, this one wasn't a waste of my time.
Yeah.
I just, I didn't get the same payoff that was expected out of it. And by expected, I mean that the writer expected.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I'm sure a lot of people would.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would recommend this. If for some reason you've gotten to this point in our little audio log, and what's not a podcast, because we never did a podcast.
No, we never did a podcast. No. You're not even listening to this right now.
If you've got... Stop doing
Sorry.
If you've gotten this far and you haven't read it, or at least checked it out on some reading, go to it now.
Yeah, if you didn't go pause the the not podcast at the beginning of this when I told you what the links were, go check it out now.
I would read it, just, when it says 80 foot, just read 22.
Yeah.
Because that's still really freaking big.
Yeah, that would be, like, insane.
Well, okay, 20-foot snake is more than enough snake to eat me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm surprised he didn't, like just nope right there, like, when he saw an 80-foot fucking boa constrictor or python, like, become mobile and wander off. I'm surprised he didn't just leave then, like...
And, I mean, I suppose it could be argued that, the fact that, it's 3 times bigger than any other snake ever recorded,
does merit if...
It is, it may be, that's part of the creepy story.
Yeah.
But...
We never got, like, if he had expanded a little bit more on that, like, found something else about that connected to that, maybe, but, yeah, like, it's just kind of a single instance.
Well, if anyone said that, I can't buy that.
Yeah.
From reading the story, I cannot buy that. That was when everything was still very firmly grounded in reality.
Yeah.
And, nothing weird had happened.
Yeah, like, I mean, again, like, he thought he had heard some voices, but he even dismisses them himself as being just a trick of the mind from maybe the water or something like that.
Exactly. He's still...
in denial.
Rationalizing everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, by that logic, I've kind of got to believe that this 80-foot snake was supposed to be real. And I swear to God, I apologize for harping on this. But it's my biggest issue with this story, which, for such a nitpick, well, I mean, it's not really a nitpick.
Pretty big. It is kind of a big plot hole.
It's a big hole, but at the same time, it's not really that bad. I mean, compared to some of the things I've talked about specific pastas,
yeah,
this is a pretty small complaint.
Yeah,
a gross exaggeration of the size of a snake. But yeah, like I say, an argument could be made that, the gross size of it is part of it's part of the horror story. I just gotta say, I was reading a different story than anyone who says that.
Yeah.
Because
you weren't
in horror mode at that point.
No, yeah, it was supposed to be an urban exploration journey.
It was supposed to be holy shit, it was supposed to be a moment to make him go back inside.
Yeah.
And
find the basement.
Yeah. So, yeah,
it was a little fantastical.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
But, yeah, again, like I say, this story was good.
Yeah.
Like, it might not sound like it, but I actually enjoyed the read.
Mm-hmm.
It just,
it was a little too long for your taste, and you weren't, like, kind of buying into it.
Exactly. So. I wasn't believing, so the payoffs were never going to work, because I wasn't sucked into it. But that doesn't mean that I think this story is completely incapable of sucking someone in.
Yeah.
It's very capable of it.
It worked for me for the most part. So,
Yeah,
I mean, again, yeah. I went into this like, all
You
right,
want to believe.
yeah, I do. I really do.
Yeah, you want to be scared by a story.
I'm the optimistic viewpoint in this, and you're the very clinical or very
Pessimistic.
pessimistic and cynical part of this duo.
Yes.
So
yeah.
you're the straight man to my funny man. Funny being in quotes.
More that you're a little off.
Yeah. But
yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
I don't know. Do you have anything else for this one?
No. There's not even anything really like. And I enjoyed it. We've both given it a good review. The comments on it are all pretty well positive. Like there was nothing like glaring like we've had in previous episodes that we want to talk about. That's not really worth talking about the comments. I'm curious to do some more Slimebeast stories because they seem to be so far the record has been 2 for 2 for me. So I would maybe we should do some more of those ones maybe. But for this one, yeah, there you go. So you can check it out on creepypasta.wiki, as we said, slimebeast.com. You can listen to it done by some people on YouTube, like Mr.Creepypasta. And that's our opinion about, or that's our discussion for Abandoned by Disney. So,
or God, if you're one of those believers of, Disney is the all-powerful.
Yeah.
I actually genuinely appreciated that little thing, but I don't know if that was intended or if that was just the way I read into it.
Well, there are there is that thing out there
I am
about
cynical
Disney cults.
bastard.
So yeah. If you have any comments or questions to us or suggestions or if you want to talk to us about it, we are both on Twitter at Review Cultist and at Dr. Leviathan. We are also, you can leave a comment in the comment section on YouTube or on iTunes since we're there. Send us a review on iTunes. That'd be really cool. You can also send us an email at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you might want us to discuss on the show.
Yeah, what's your favorite that we haven't done?
Yeah, because, I mean, there's still a ton of them out there, like hundreds. So, if you have one that you want us to discuss, by all means.
Don't wait for us to get around to it. Tell us.
Yes, please. Go now. No. Anyway, I have been your... God damn it. Dr. Leviathan just did a typewriter motion.
I was on the internet.
With a typewriter. What? Anyway, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And as always, I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.